Okay, I was getting ready to go work on these sportster heads here and get this motor finished up, but I have other issues I got to deal with now. So, when I get in today, I see there's a bunch of liquid residue underneath the motor over here. That's all over my workbench. So we have some issues here on the bottom of the motor called oil leaking. See the drip hanging off right there? So we have to determine why this motor is leaking oil out of it, because it shouldn't be leaking any oil out of it. That is why I put the goop on the case halves. So this is the first one I've had leak like this that I can never remember. So, and it's got a lake under here, it's gushing. So, and see, it just dripped again. So the screw appears to be dry. I see no other leakage areas. This does slide really nice with that oil on it though. The oil pump appears to be dry. So we know it's not leaking out of there. Cam cover shouldn't have any oil in it. This side looks dry on the case parting lip, or the bolts I mean. There's no oil coming down here. So now we gotta figure out where the oil's coming from. So what we gotta do is we gotta figure that out. That does slide really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a finger on the bottom down there and see if there's any moisture anywhere. So first thing is there. Dry, 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 dry. Just starting to pick up a little bit of something about there. So it appears to be leaking right where that oil drip is at, or close to it. Now the motor looks like it's slightly downhill, so the oil would drain down. If it was leaking up there, it would drain all the way here and drip on the bottom. So you can't just go to where the low spot is and say that's where the leak is. But in this case, it looks like it might be. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to stand the motor up and see if I can see where it's dripping from. And then I get to take the whole stinking motor apart to fix it. Wonderful. Sounds like a fun day. Didn't test out these absorbent pad material. They actually work pretty good. Alright. Nice mess. This is 50 weight Maximus, so it doesn't just clean up really easily. See oil. There's moisture right here. So it looks like it starts about here, maybe. It's really hard to tell. It's definitely dry up in this area. So this whole corner is leaking for some reason. Now it's running down here all the way down because we got the motor up in the air. I knew that was going to happen, but so it looks like the leak is somewhere in that area. Okay, well, either way we got to pull the whole motor apart to fix it, so got no choice. That is gonna definitely have to be done. I have no idea why we didn't see it before. I'm pretty good at seeing defective areas on the motors when I'm doing these things. Alright. Alright. Yep, there we go. Time for high-speed take apart. Clock starts now. How long to get a motor apart? Here. Now, if you notice, I left the 2 bolts in the plate here. So these 2 are holding everything right now. So I'm going to pop the top one off, then I'll take the bottom off. You just give it a whack and it straightens it up. It comes right off your hand. That's the quick way of doing it. Lock tabs do not stop you from unscrewing stuff either. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. This thing's on there really, really tight. Actually, I have to pull it to get that off now. Too big. Smaller one. Oh, interruptions already. Hello. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What year is it? 80? 80, it's just a regular oil pump. Yeah, I got oil pumps here. I got the Ultimate pump, not the SNS style. So you have to, well, that's all I got here. Yeah, they're not stock pumps. I don't have OEM pumps. I'm not a Harley dealer. Yes, they work. Are you going to have a, do you have an oil pressure switch light, idiot light or not? Okay, the Ultima pump does not have provision for a light. Well, actually, on Evo, it comes off the, you have a provision for that already. Yeah, it doesn't affect your bike. I'm thinking of a Chevrolet. No, it has a sensor off the side of the case. Yeah, it just bolts on. It's a little bit different how it looks than stock, but S&S looks close to a stock pump. If you want a stock pump, if you want an aftermarket, you want a more clean system, the Ultima system works. So, I have the Ultima stock, the S&S I have to order. Let's see, probably about 2 1/4. It's the Ultima. It's sitting here. I have it in stock. I got high flow and standards. If you have no oil pressure, there's probably something that's going away with the key department. It might not necessarily be the oil pump. It might be the dry system failed. But you don't know until it's apart. Usually if it fails that bad, usually the pump's bad because something went through the pump. Right, which takes the pump out, but the failure of the pump not working is not from the pump probably, it's probably from something else. But it's probably going to be bad, but you won't know until it's apart. Okay, yeah, I get your price for that. I don't know what they cost right now. They're more money, but I don't know how much. But we can go. Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah, well, plus tax, whatever that is. So. Okay. All right. Bye. There you go. You learned all about oil pumps on Evo bikes. 90, whatever, 88. Okay. See, you can listen to my phone calls too. I don't care. All right, you can see the puller brings it off pretty quickly and easy. I push directly on the main shaft, which pushes on the side of the case over here. So if it doesn't come out real easy, you got to be careful it does not blow your case out. But Sportster case is pretty strong, so I was confident this would not be a problem. And it isn't. So when you use pullers, you just got to know what's getting pressed on and what's not being pressed on, so you don't break stuff. Take that off. It's going to fall off anyway. Alright, so this side's apart now. Maybe on this side over here. More oil on the bench still. Keep wiping it off, but it's making a little more oil as it's going. Keep cleaning underneath the motor there because it's going to keep dripping. Okay, so we can pull a tranny sprocket off. This one I'm going to pull the key up on it. Not key, but lock. Okay, actually I might have to, pull that thing. Came off easy. Be better if it was a press fit, but oh well, they are what they are. Okay, tranny just comes out by beating on it with a hammer. But you do have to pull the bolts out to hold it in first, don't forget. 4 of those over here. Now you just hear the hammer, the cover will pop off. Use a plastic hammer. Make sure you put the washers back where they go so you don't lose them. Ah, come on. What are you fighting me for? You don't want to go on, but a feet will fall right off, see. Yeah, all the bearings stayed in there, but I got to pull them out, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, we've got to find a place to put this where it stays clean. So all that has to go back together again. So. Yeah. One dropped out. Okay, so there's all the bearings. We're going to keep those because they're good to go back in. So we'll pick a nice clean spot over here to lay them right down here so we can put them back in easily. So all these parts are cleaned and pre-lubed, so as long as you don't get them dirty, you put them right back together and it goes together a lot quicker than it did the first time. So you got to have a clean area to work in. Okay. That just comes out. Too many tools in one spot, so it's time to clean the area up a little bit. Don't need all this stuff laying out of the way. Get all the tools out of the way. This should have went back with the tools. Okay. There we go. I got more area to work over here. And the area off here, ships and stuff away. So everything to lay over here will be clean now. Face off again. Okay, so we got to get the top end off. We got to get the cam cover off. Doesn't matter which way you go, it's got to come off. So let's go ahead and do the top end first, I guess. What the hell? We will be losing these gaskets. At least the nuts are broken in, so they're going off easier than they did. Remember, we had to fight for them on. Hardware goes over here. Not exactly free coming off, but they are unscrewing. Washers off also. So this is one way of telling how good of a job you do. When you take it back apart, you can see how things are. Because right now the only one at fault for putting it together is you, because you're the one who just did it. So if you see something you don't like, you know who to blame. Look in the mirror. Or in my case, go watch the video. The evidence is there. So who's going to be the first one to go back and see why that's leaking over there in the previous video when I snotted it all up? Because I know I put a layer of snot on there. But obviously I did something wrong. And it wasn't letting the customer in the door. But that could be the problem, number one problem right there. I would not have had this problem if that didn't happen. see how some of these nuts are a little bit looser on screws than others. That's because the gasket's settled. Pretty good at dropping hardware. But just don't drop it in the motor. You notice they drop it on the ground, not the motor. Key difference there. Okay, whack the gasket off. Hit the cylinders flat on the fins, you don't break them. If you put them at an angle, up or down, you'll break the fins. So, one from that side. What we'll do from this side. That one's free. This one's free too. Okay, those are off. Okay, I'm going to leave the pistons on the crank and work around those so I don't have to take the clips and stuff off. You can see how the gasket's tore right down the center because the gasket sealer sticks really hard to it. See, it rips the whole gasket. So, because the sealer's stuck real good. The sealer's stronger than the gasket is. Alright. Yeah, I gotta pull it. I don't have to pull it. You can pull the pinion gear off the crank and not pull the pump, or pull the pump and then pull the whole crank out. One or two has to come out, not both things, but one has to. We'll pull the pump. Because I gotta clean the case anyway, so I'd rather not be cleaning the oil pump when I do all that. Okay, that's not gonna come out very easily, probably. Come off in pieces. Okay. A little bit of an oil leak going. There's still oil in the motor. So we put half a quart of oil in there, so it's still got some in there. stud came out. Alright. I'm going to mark these so I know which one's which. Where's my pins at? There's one over here. Put a little X on there so I know it's exhaust. Okay, so you just put a little pressure on the lifter and hit it with the screwdriver to move it. Once the O-ring moves a little bit, it comes up. Okay, those are out. You don't want me hitting on that. Probably won't do it anyway. Nope. Gasket's on there good. Okay, I pried right here in the back corner lightly on the flat part of the blade. That freed that side up. There's nothing up here to pry on anywhere to break the seal. I'm going to hit it from the inside. And that wood handle I used to have is gone, so let's see, I used a block of aluminum, I think. Lots of force, but not impact. That fits. Used a bigger diameter tube is better. I'm just going to hit it lightly with this until the gasket pops. There it goes. Took 3 hits to pop the gasket. It popped it right through here. I already had this previously popped back here. Okay, now you just take a putty knife or your pocket knife to slit the gasket all the way around, and the cover should pull right off without marking it up or anything. So I just use my handy dandy pocket knife. And it comes off as a unit. So find a spot to lay this so we don't damage it. Found a faraway place to put it. Right there. Alright, so that gasket's out. Let's see, looks like the shim didn't go on there, so we'll put the shim on there where it belongs. We'll mix up the shims that we had in there. Okay, so now the oil pump's right here. We need to get it to go down. So we can lightly hit it with a hammer to poke it down a little bit. Put that piece back on there. It won't stay. Okay, so I'm going to use my aluminum tube here. Straight up as close as you can to be straight up and down. You're engaging the teeth when you're doing that, so you got to make sure you don't hit real hard, just because it has to rotate as it comes down or it breaks the teeth off. So now we just put all the parts back in here that came off. There you go, reassemble it back together. We're going to have to scrape the gasket off. Now we can actually just put gasket on there, it'll probably seal, but we're going to put a new gasket. We don't want to risk an oil leak. We're already doing that already. Okay, so now at this point, this whole assembly will slide through the bearing. It should come off. Alright, what else to do? I think we got everything off that we need to take off. So I'm going to drop the engine stand out of here. Get it out of the way. I think give me an oil pan to collect the oil in. Alright. Oil leak there. Okay, so much oil's left in this thing. Not much. Most everything dripped out. Most all of it is gone. What do I do with my... There it is. There ain't that much left, so I'm just going to collect it with a pad and call it done. So I put different parts in different areas, so I know where they're at. out. Okay, what I want to see is the bolt wet or not. Bolt is dry, so it's not leaking past the bolt boss. There's no oil on the bolt. Every bolt I pulled out's been dry so far. So that means the sealer is working around the hole. So that means something else is bent. Either the case is bent in, or there's a cut I missed, or something. Something's wrong. We'll be inspecting a little more carefully this time. Okay. All the bolts are out. I'll get the cases split. So they're not going to want to split because of the sealers in there. So we have to hit them pretty good. So you want to hit them when they don't break. So if you hit it right here on the snout, you break the snout off. You hit it right here at the base of the snout right there. Took 2 hits to pop it. That's popped. See how the oil's coming out on top of the absorbent pad? It's catching the oil. The next place we're going to hit is here in the back, right about in this area in the back, on the other side. That's the other strong area to hit. Get right here in the thick part of the case. It's now split. The right side will come off, the left side, the crank will stay with the left. No one's here to help me hold the other case, so I just have to work it back and forth to do it. So that's off. Okay. Case is probably bent. See how right here, the sealer's there, but it's not touching anything. Here over it's connected, here over it's connected, it's all squished out. That's raw sealer there. It's never been touched. So that means that case, you can see the raw sealer right there also, that case is warped or bent or something. It's damaged right there. That's why it's leaking there. I have no idea why it's like that. It's not enough that I noticed it being damaged, but you can see how it's damaged. So we're going to get to figure out what's going on. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and clean all this stuff up. And I got to press the crank out of the case because obviously there's damage on that case half, not this half. So I'm going to have to go over, well, I assume it's on that half. So I'll have to go see what's wrong. So I'm going to clean all this up and I'll be back. Okay, got everything all cleaned up here. So there's your low spot through here. So one of these two surfaces is not flat. This is 2 inches thick. This is 1/4 inch thick. Which one do you think is bent? Alright, so you run it straight across here. Definitely on the sealer. See the gap between the scale right there? I'm flat on the surface here, see? So this here case has been hit. You can see an impact mark right there. I filed it off, but it's low, not high. So this has been, something's hit this thing and dropped it. While the motor was apart, it got dropped and the motor was apart and bent this thing over. So you don't really want to be bending on cases too much because it's a good way to break them. So the best way to fix something like this is to JB weld up this area, file it back flat, and then you'll be fine. So that'd be your best option for how to fix these things. See, if you get in the habit of trying to bend aluminum, cast aluminum, it usually breaks when you bend it back. It'll take one hit without shattering, but it don't like being hit anymore after it's been hit. It don't like being hit the first time. So, alright, so there's your problem. So these got to be completely cleaned up, all the gasket surface come off. I have to JB weld this area up, let it sit overnight, come back and sand on it, which is going to put me in the next week. So, wonderful. Anyway, that's where we're at for now, so I have to deal with this.